Hello, hi guys, welcome. So I know I'm doing this Facebook Live on a different day because yesterday just flew away with me. But I wanted to really do this today because it's very much in the kind of forefront of my mind. So I've just been reading a great article as I was kind of preparing for this video. So I'm going to be sharing with you 5 top tips to really help you be able to push through your fear, so you can reach your goals and hit success. So if you are feeling like something is holding you back, if there's something that's standing in your way and there's something you're scared of, it's fear, maybe it's past, something that's happened in the past, and it's stopping you from maybe being able to reach your goals, maybe subconsciously, then I'm going to be sharing 5 tips with you today. Now, the reason I'm doing this is partly to help me, like I'm kind of, this morning, for some reason, I've just been thinking about some personal things that are going on with me and have been for several years. So it's been in my mind, and I decided to do something this morning to kind of make myself feel uncomfortable because I know that it's something that I have to do in order to be able to reach personal goals of mine and things that I want out of my life. So, but I kind of, this can be used for business, personal, whatever, however you may find it useful. Then I just wanted to share with you. And as I was writing my notes, so I've got some notes here for this video, I was reading this and thought, wow, okay, there's definitely some things that I need to do. So I thought, hey, the best way for me to kind of make sure that I do this too is by doing this video and kind of teaching you too with what I've kind of found today and any other things that I have done. So it's part kind of accountability for me, and maybe if this is something that you're wanting something too, then make sure that you take some notes, save this video. I am going to be creating this into a blog post so it can be used for the future. So this video will turn into a blog post as well. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. If you are coming in live or you're watching the replay, just type in replay in the comments below, and also just let me know where you're watching from. I love to be able to see where people are around the world. I have quite a nice diverse audience of people, so I love to be able to see where you're watching from, which country, which city, town, whatever. So do let me know as you're watching. So I'm here in the UK, and if you don't know me, this is the first time that you're seeing me, then firstly, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. And my name is Jenny Stevens, and I help coach and train network marketers, home-based business entrepreneurs, how to build their business online, so you can build a business from your home and be able to really utilize the internet so you can have a business that you love and will work for you, so you can then have that time and freedom to be able to do more things that you absolutely love. So okay, so this is really about it's kind of a slightly selfish reasons in terms of I need a bit of help with my own mindset. I know that mindset is the thing that holds me back. So who else feels like that? If you feel like that it's this that's a bit of your blocker, then just drop a 1 below. Because I know that's my downfall, is my mindset. So this is why this kind of was really, really helpful today. Now I saw this great quote that I really like, and it's, don't let today's disappointments cast a shadow on tomorrow's dreams. And I thought that's just really lovely. That's a really great way of summing up what letting fear really does for us. Fear and doubt and worry and anxiety and all those negative feelings, it really holds us back. So if there's something that you're wanting, don't let being burnt before or things that have happened before stop you from continuing. And this is something that I have to do personally as well, for some personal reasons, some shit that's happened in my life that I have to get over. So this is very much a kind of self-development thing as well. But I thought, why not be the absolutely best way to be able to help others and help myself is to actually be able to kind of say things out loud, because we can go through this journey together. So really it comes to, I'm sure if you have been, if you're a network marketer and you're in this kind of home business space, and if you've been doing personal development, I'm sure you're not a stranger to knowing that pushing through your comfort zone really is so important. When you do those things, you really see the benefits on the other side. But sometimes, especially if that step is quite a big thing to push through, it's really scary. It's really scary because as human beings, we are wired to protect ourselves. We're made in the way that, we don't want to be uncomfortable. We stay safe. We make sure that we stay safe and comfortable. But when you do that, you just pretty much stay the same. So if you're looking for big changes in your life or in your business, then you kind of need to know that you have to push through some uncomfortableness and go through some feeling of, oh, I really don't like this, or this is really scary, to be able to come through the other side. So that's kind of what some of the tips I'm going to be sharing with you. So it could be things, for example, like quitting your job. So if you're wanting to quit your job so you can run your business full time, oh my God, I know. I mean, I quit my job 6 months ago, and even though I had the confidence that I knew it would be okay, especially when it was getting closer and closer to my last day of work, I was crapping myself a little bit. I had to really say, like, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine, you know what you're doing, you've got systems in place, you've got the help that you need. But it was still scary. So, but if that is one of your goals, that you're wanting to maybe get out of your boring 9-to-5 job and be able to be at home so you can either run your business full time, or maybe you're working part-time, you've got kids, and you're wanting to be able to spend more time with your babies because they grow up so fast. Like for me, I want to be able to have enough success that when we do have babies, that I can be around for them, and I've got a business that I've still got something that's me, but I've also can have that time there. But so maybe let's say you quit your job, but then you have some tough times, you don't bring in much income for a bit, maybe something's not working, maybe you don't recruit any teammates for a while, maybe your sales really drop down. And that happened to me. That absolutely happened to me. For 2 or 3 months, I really didn't make much money at all, and I was like, oh my God. But so then that feeling of real discomfort and, oh God, that, anxiety that you feel, it's really easy for people to be like, do you know what, this is too hard. I'm going to maybe get a part-time job again, or I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to go back to that office, because that feeling of safety and comfort kind of brings you there, and it's a lot more appealing. For me, I never want to go back to a full-time job. It would have to be the absolute last thing I want to do, because the feeling that I have now of being able to wake up naturally every day and do what I love every single day absolutely outweighs that feeling. But I've not been in that position where it's been if you've had to sell your car, or you think of selling your children. I'm joking. But maybe you're thinking, oh my God, it's really, really tight, then that can be an option for people. I say, as of before, maybe you've been burned before, and this is part of my own personal struggle. Is I've gone through some personal things, and things haven't worked out how I wanted, and it hurt. My heart hurt. I went through some of the most vulnerable times of my entire life, which I will share more of this when I feel ready. It's not one of those things that I'm willing to talk about publicly, but just know that when you've gone through crap and you feel you've been burnt, a lot of people, I think, especially when it comes to business, because I want to try and keep this fairly business orientated, but obviously we are all human beings as well. It's not always about business, and actually it's my personal stuff that holds me back in my business. But like, I think a lot of reasons why maybe network marketing has a bit of a sour taste in people's mouths is because they've been burned before. A lot, some people think that, that network marketing thing doesn't work, nobody makes any money. It's because they've had something happen. Maybe their upline was horrible. Maybe they had some kind of bitchiness or bullying, or maybe, you know, I don't know, something happened that it left that sour taste in their mouth and it hurt. And, you know, they didn't have a nice experience. So therefore, they're going to have that negative thing and they're never going to want to do that again. Another kind of little story of mine is, how long ago now? 8-9 years ago, my husband and I decided we thought it'd be fun to run a pub. It was kind of my husband's thing. We had this opportunity come up where we could take over this really rundown pub. The brewery was going to spend loads of money refurbishing it. There was so much potential. So we kind of thought, hey, why not? My husband would do that. I had my full-time job as well, and I was never going to give that up. But unfortunately, after kind of 10 months, it really was getting to the point where it was just too much stress. I was crying all the time. I was definitely on the verge of depression. It was just too much. And so we got out when we could, and, you know, that took a lot of rebuilding. But from that experience, I said to myself, I never want to run a business ever again. I never want to be self-employed ever again, you know, and that was what I thought. Lo and behold, you know, what was it, 6 years later, I came across network marketing, and it's absolutely the thing that saved me. I think the fact that it was risk-free really appealed to me. There was no risk of losing loads of money or, you know, anything like that. It was easy in terms of starting up. And now, you know, thank God I did, because look at me now, and now my goals are way bigger than what they were back then. But that feeling of failure and feeling of, you know, being, again, so mentally screwed up for quite a while, was something I never wanted to experience again. So it's really about, you know, if you have been burned before, is putting yourself through that again is the bit that stops you. And this is definitely my personal thing. That little voice that sits on your shoulder and tells you it's not worth it, and to stay away from the pain. You know, that's what they're there to tell you. That little doubt devil that I talk about every now and then, that little doubt devil that just sits on your shoulder and is like, yeah, you don't want to do this. This is going to be too hard. It's not going to be worth it. You don't really want this. And it's going to be your job to be able to flick that little dude off your shoulder and tell yourself it is worth it. So that's something that I'm going to start telling myself, is it is worth it. Hi, Sally. So, and there's that. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen that really kind of famous photo where there's two like gold diggers, you know, there's kind of in their own little tunnels, and they're with their little pickaxes, and they're, you know, chopping away in the ground trying to find the gold or the diamond. I can't remember, I think it might be a diamond in the picture. And there's one guy that gives up and he's walking in the opposite direction, and then you've got the other one that's there, and the diamond is literally the other side of the thing. And I think that's such a great what's the word I'm looking for? Metaphor, is that the word? Of what it is, you know, to do to really push through your fear to be able to get to reach your goals and reach that success. So the 5 tips in terms of how do you actually do that. So hopefully, you know, you kind of, if you've been relating to this and you kind of think, yeah, do you know what, I definitely feel this too, then hopefully some of these tips will just help you, because reading through it and making these notes, I was like, wow, I definitely need to do this. So we'll go through this journey together. So the first one is, and I've got some notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So the first one is really to identify the potential challenges and decide that you can meet them. Okay, so that's the first one. So what this means is, you know, what they recommended, and let's say, there's a great blog post, something called like Tiny Buddha or something like that. So I kind of want to say thank you and credit them for a lot of this content today. But is what you want to do is then list out all of the factors and things that could make you want to quit. So list it out. So list out some of the things, you know, get some paper, write out what those things are that could make you want to quit. Be really specific, okay? So be specific, and and write down what sacrifices will be the hardest. I think that will be a great way of really kind of being honest with yourself and acknowledging, well, actually, what is it that's going to be the hard thing for you to have to do in order to be able to push past that, and, you know, for you to be able to go through the wall and get to the other side. So, and also ask yourself, well, what's the payout? What's the payoff? What's the benefit at the end of it? What's the outcome that you're actually looking for if you keep going? So list out, say what the things are, and then have 2 columns. So you can write then the best and the worst outcomes. So if there's a few things going on in your business, in your personal life, whatever, however you want to use this, do with it as you will. Write out what the issue is, and then write out the best and worst outcomes. So that's kind of tip number 1. The second one is then pay attention to your emotions and don't resist them. So this is really about kind of acknowledging your emotions, knowing that they're there. You know, we are all human. If we didn't have emotions, we wouldn't be normal. We wouldn't be human. So, you know, as we go through life and different experiences, emotion is just a part of it. But it's important to realize that, you know, your emotions don't define you. They don't define reality forever. So without, you know, trying without to analyze, judging, having those kind of opinions, bringing up the past, worrying about the future, is acknowledge your feelings. Feel them. You know, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. I did that this morning. I was watching a program that I always used to find hard, so I stopped watching it. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to watch this TV program this morning, even though I know it's going to be hard and I'll probably cry a bit, but I thought, you know what, this is something that I need to do. I need to feel that pain to hopefully then help me push through that. So, you know, feel them and say, just know and realize that these feelings and these emotions aren't forever. They're temporary. You know, they're not forever. So when you stop resisting those feelings, and if anybody here is a bit like me and they're very good at putting a front on, then, you know, you don't have to comment if you don't want to, but, you know, feel free to just put a yeah, or, you know, give me some likes or loves in the to show me, because I'm sure we are all great at putting a bit of a front on. But I say it's really important to actually let your feelings come to the forefront, acknowledge them, feel them. Because when you actually stop resisting them, that's when, you know, you can really experience life. You can experience more joy in your business, and it was just going to get much easier. So tip number 3 then is, and I quite like this one, it's challenge your stronger emotions with more emotion. So and I love this, so I really hope you like it, because I really like this, is think about what you do today is going to basically create how you feel tomorrow. So think of yourself as kind of 2 people. You've got your sort of present person, your today person, and then you've got your future self. So what would you tell your present person? You know, if you could obviously, you know, you think about stuff you've gone through in your life or in your business, and when you did actually go through maybe some struggle, when you pushed through and you did persevere and eventually you got something happen. If you had somebody else that was feeling the exact same way as you did, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever, what would you tell that person? You'd say, keep going, it'll be worth it, I promise you. So that's something that is definitely going to be a really good one, is to actually think of yourself as, you know, future you, and tell your present person now what you think they need to hear. You know, it's going to be worth it. You're going to have this, you're going to have that, you're going to be this, it's going to be easier, it is worth it. So I really like that. So yeah, so it's kind of what you do today is what your future self will be proud of, and what you'll create how you feel tomorrow. So I really like that. Number 4 is celebrate the small wins. Now, I do this in my communities all the time, is celebrating the small wins. It's such a great thing to do, you know, for business, especially when people are new. Sometimes you can see, you know, big goals, say like somebody quitting their job, or somebody's hit you know, the top spot in the company, anything like that. But you know what? It's really important to acknowledge and celebrate those small wins, those people who are just beginning. If you've got people that are joining your team and they've got their first, maybe they've got their first prospect, maybe they've got their first call lined up to talk to somebody about the opportunity, maybe they've made their first sale, maybe they've done their first Facebook Live, maybe they've done, you know, whatever, is celebrate those small wins. So don't just focus on that end goal, because I think, you know, it's very easy to look at that end goal, you know. So again, is it, you know, I want to quit my job, I want to lose, you know, 3 stone. I think especially when it comes to weight, it's very important. I've been through lots of weight loss journeys throughout the years. And I never think, oh, but I've still got, if I've say I've got, I've lost half a stone, which is 7 pounds. You know, I never think, oh, but I've still got, you know, 2 stone to go, because there's just no point. It's like, no, celebrate. So I always break down my weight loss journey into kind of half a stone segments, because it's like, yeah, I've done it. But even then, celebrate if you've lost a pound. Celebrate if you've actually planned out your week. Celebrate if you've if you've done some exercise more than maybe last week. Celebrate everything. So break it down into kind of small bite-sized chunks, because sometimes when you just look at that big goal, that end goal, it's quite easy to feel sort of dissatisfied and a bit disheartened. So by celebrating all the little small wins, you know, it's really going to help that. Now, this was a little extra thing that I quite liked. It's celebrate not just the to-do lists. So if you're always breaking down things into tasks, yeah, it's great to go, yes, I did 3 Facebook Lives this week. I, you know, emailed out to my list 5 times this week. I had so many prospecting calls this week, whatever. But actually, it's not even just looking at the to-do list. I really like this. It's who you are. You know, it's celebrating who you are, what you're capable of, how awesome you are, you know, how powerful you are, how talented, how brave, you know, whatever kind of needs to go on, whatever thing that you're looking to push through to be able to get that, is don't just look at those to-do lists, you know. I had some counseling once, and she said to me, yeah, don't just look at that big end goal. Break it down into small little achievable things, of things to do, like, right, go and do this, do this, do this. And yes, that helped. But actually, I think for me, it's I need to kind of give myself that pat on the back for even just some of the mindset shifts or some of the changes that you can make that don't necessarily always go to that, you know, ticking off the to-do list. And give yourself credit for all the small things. And, you know, because when you give yourself credit for all of those small things that you're doing, all of those small wins that you're achieving, you're gonna kind of have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that compound effect. Have you read that book? Is then, you know, you're gonna keep wanting to add on to that. If you keep giving yourself those pats on the back, you keep celebrating stuff and kind of telling yourself, yes, you're awesome, is that feeling you're going to want to keep getting. So you're going to want to keep adding on to those lists and things to do to keep building that up. And then finally, the tip 5 is, I'm going to call this one Call Fish. I was going to say BS, but I thought, no, Call Fish, that's a game, isn't it, where you call fish. So the 5th tip is, sometimes we think that maybe our goals are too big. Who here has ever made a goal so big and then you thought, oh, nah, I can't do that. Maybe let's lower it. I've done that all the time. It's a really common thing. So maybe you feel like maybe your goals are too big. Maybe you're trying to shoot for the moon and maybe you need to just go for outer Earth. Trying to think context in terms of the moon. You know, so maybe you don't think that you can actually achieve your goal. Have you ever felt like that before? Or maybe, and this was one that really hit home with me, is maybe you don't really want it. You trick yourself to feel like, well, maybe I didn't want it that much after all. I've definitely told myself that. So if you've ever done that as well, then, you know, this one's going to really help you. So, you know, you're basically kind of you are telling yourself some kind of bullshit. You're telling yourself some lies of things that aren't really true. So if you're telling yourself that your goals are too big, you're telling yourself that maybe you can't reach them, or you're telling yourself that, oh, maybe you just didn't want it that much, then you need to call fish. You need to basically call yourself a liar, you know, and you know, most likely is you're just putting yourself down. You're selling yourself too short. You're settling. And basically when you're doing that is you're giving yourself permission to quit, and that's what we don't want, because this is all about pushing through that fear and pushing through whatever barriers you've created to be able to get through to the other side to have that greatness. So really be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and call yourself a liar, or call fish, call bullshit, whatever you want to call it. So that was, you know, those are those 5 things. So say, as I was reading this other great blog post, and as I was doing some research and writing these notes, there was definitely some food for thought for me. So I really hope that you have found some things within this video that you thought, you know what, yeah, you know, even if you just say, right, I'm just going to try 1 thing or 2 things, just small things to do, go and do it. Because we all, you know, when you do push through, every time I have, you know, pushed through some kind of barrier, especially when it comes to business, maybe with my personal life, not quite so much, but with my business, every time I have taken a giant leap of faith, I have really pushed through my comfort zone, there has been something awesome at the end of it. So I know that when it comes to business, that really works and that really helps. I just have to put that same practice into my personal life. And you know, for some of the things that I need to do to be able to get my, you know, personal dreams and goals to come true. So I really hope. So I'll just quickly recap those 5 things. So the first one was identify what your potential challenges are. So list things out and, you know, decide that you can meet them. The second one was pay attention to your emotions and don't resist them. So really acknowledge them and feel your emotions. The third one was challenge your stronger emotions with more emotion. So what you basically what would you tell if you're a future person, future you, what would you tell your today you? Would you know, and what do they need to do? The fourth one was celebrate all the small wins, everything. Celebrate all of those small wins, not just to-dos, but, you know, things that maybe you've done mentally as well. And then finally is basically call fish. Call yourself a liar when you're telling yourself that maybe things are too big and you can't achieve things. So I really hope this video helped. And you say, go and put things into practice. I'm going to be really doing this myself as well. So that's why I wanted to share with it. It's a bit of accountability for me, and hopefully just help somebody else to go, do you know what? It is worth it. What is at the other end of that fear and that comfort zone is something pretty special. And you just have to keep reminding yourself that it is worth it. And then, you know, it's going to be an even better journey when you've reached it as well. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you found this video useful. Feel free to share. I'd love to be able to know if you found this useful. So leave some comments below or give me some likes and loves. Tag anyone. Shares are welcome. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.